Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back to another episode of Freedom Friday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are diving into something extra special. You know, as we continue our journey through the year of rebirth, it feels perfect that we are talking about self-love on Valentine's Day. Yes, today is Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Well, earlier this week, we explored the battle between our inner critic and our inner ally. And today we are building on that foundation to celebrate the most important relationship in our lives, and that's the ones with ourselves. But before we begin, I want to remind you that our Year Rebirth Workbook is available for free right now. Download it on our website. It's an amazing tool that will complement today's discussion perfectly. All right. So let's do this. Let's take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to get deep into this conversation. All right. It's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. And we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. By bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG group. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnyomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right, my beautiful people. Well, now let's take a moment just to ground ourselves, all right? So if you can gently close your eyes, and if you're in a safe place to do so. No? All right, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose. And release slowly through your mouth. And as you breathe, I want you to set an intentions for self-love today. What does your heart need to hear? What does self-love mean to you? I want you to breathe in one more time. And I want you to hold that intention with you as you continue on our journey together. And when you are ready, you can gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people. If you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something that we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help center and ground ourselves before we get into the topic at hand. So, you know, it's fascinating on how Valentine's Day has become synonymous with romantic love, with store windows filled with heart-shaped chocolates and roses. But today, we're going to flip that script. I want to share something personal with you all, something that changed my entire perspective on Valentine's Day. It is very deeply personal with me, you all. So over 20 years ago, I found myself going through my first divorce. And this was a Valentine's Day, and my daughters were with their father. And I was living with my sister and her fiance at that time. And love was quite literally all around me. So can you imagine just seeing the bliss of their love and knowing that your love and your relationship is just now no longer, right? Well, I remember coming home from work from my job. At that time, I was a teen parent counselor and a daycare assistant. And those feelings of loneliness started to creep in. They started to creep in. So, it took me right back to those teenage years, when Valentine's Day it felt like this huge reminder of just being alone. But this time it was different. I was no longer a teenager. I actually was an adult. They have been married, they had children, but I was now alone. I was now alone. And also the divorce was still fresh. And you see, in dating for me at that time, that was the last thing that was on my mind. So I made the conscious choice while my sister and her fiance was out celebrating. I decided to create something for myself, a self-love ritual. And that night, I wrote my very first love letter to myself. What's beautiful about this story is that I had no idea that then that simple exercise that I did, and I didn't realize it was exercise, it was just a letter that I was writing to myself to let me know that how love that I was with for myself, not only making a choice to leave that marriage and that relationship that was no longer aligned with me, but also to want to spend time with myself. So for me, it was a moment of vulnerability that I allowed to put to pen to paper right then and there. So it wasn't a love letter to anyone else but myself. But it will become a very powerful practice, that one that I eventually share with others on their own journeys of self-discovery. So sometimes our most profound teachings come from our deepest moments of need. And it's just so funny when I think about it. It's like full circle, full circle. So now what would you like? What would it look like if we channeled even a fraction of the energy that we spend seeking external validation into nurturing our relationship with ourselves? What would that look like? What would that look like? Now let's connect this to our discussion. So earlier this week, we talked about the inner critic. You know that voice, right? The one that whispers, everyone else has someone special today except you. That's your inner critic trying to steal your joy, right? But then here's where your inner ally comes in. It's the voice that says to you that you are worthy of love, especially your own. So let's practice some affirmations together. So I want y'all to repeat after me, all right? I am worthy of my own love and attention. Repeat after me. My worth is not determined by my relationship status. Repeat after me. I choose to celebrate myself today and every day. Yeah. Yeah. All right, so let's get practical. I want to share some tangible ways to celebrate self-love today. And here's what I call self-love celebration menu. Yes, we're going to eat. What I want you to do is I want you to create a pleasure playlist, songs that make your soul dance. Now, if you are with me old school, I used to call myself old school, new school, but remember we used to make the little love mixtapes on the tape recorder, on the little tapes. Do that now. Make your little playlist. Make you a nice playlist song that truly speaks to your soul. And then I want you to write a love letter addressing your growth and your resilience. Then I want you to cook your favorite meal mindfully, savoring each bite of it. And I want you to create a cozy corner in your home dedicated to self-reflection. And schedule a date with yourself, doing something that you always wanted to try. Now, I know I'm sharing this today on Valentine's Day, but this is something that you can take out weekly or at least once a month. Take this moment for a time for yourself. For yourself. You see, because we can celebrate this every day. It don't have to be just a one-day thing, okay? Now, my beautiful people, as we wrap today's episode, I know that it is short. I want you to remember this. I want you to remember that self-love isn't selfish, but it's sacred. It is not just about the bubble bath and the face mask and, those are lovely. Those are beautiful. But it's about building a sustainable and nurturing relationship with yourself that will carry you through life's up and down. So today might be Valentine's Day, but the practices that we've discussed are your birthright every single day of the year. You deserve to pour into yourself with the same generosity that you show others. So before we part ways again, don't forget to download the free copy of the Year Rebirth Workbook. And I'd love to hear how you've celebrated your self-love today. Share your stories with us on social media using hashtag Season of Self-Love. And next week, we will be exploring on how to maintain these self-love practices when life gets challenges. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. So until then, I want you to remember this affirmation. I am my own beloved, worthy of all the love I give so freely to others. This is Nyomi Banks reminding you that freedom starts within. And take care of that beautiful heart of yours. Have an amazing Valentine's Day. Okay. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.